Hi everyone, today we're going to be doing lesson 8-7, more decimal number stories. So we're going to solve number stories by converting decimals to fractions. We're also going to solve these number stories by leaving the decimals as decimals, but lining up those decimal points. So let's get started. And you can go ahead to your screen and we are going to click on the math message. So for the math message today, we are going to find the perimeter of the rectangle and write it below. So let's just think about perimeter. How do we find perimeter of a rectangle? What I like to do every time I have to find perimeter or area, I like to write myself a little note somewhere, maybe up in the corner off to the side, about how to find it. Perimeter equals, can you remember? Add all sides. Or some people like to say perimeter equals length plus width plus width. And that's fine too. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and see if we have all the information here that we need. So if we're going to be finding the perimeter of the rectangle, we're going to need all four sides. So what I would like for you to do is go ahead and pause your program, try to figure it out, because I'm going to go ahead with my work and the results. So if you're not ready to see that yet, try it first on your own. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and fill in the rest of the sides, because for perimeter, we need all four sides. And I know that in a rectangle, opposite sides are equal. So I know that if this is 5 6/10 centimeters, so is this side. So I'm going to fill that in, 5 6/10 centimeters. Make that a little bit smaller. And I also know that if this side is 3 8/10 centimeters, so is this side, the opposite side. So I'm going to fill that in also, 3 8/10 centimeters. So now that I have all four of my sides, I'm going to add up all my sides, and I'm going to do it two different ways. The first way I'm going to do it is by leaving everything as decimals. And I'm going to make sure that I line up my decimal points. And I'm going to do that right underneath here. So I am going to do this first way, and I'm going to call this, I'm going to say leaving as decimals. I'm going to be leaving it as decimals. Let me just get this ready here. And I'm going to start with my larger numbers. I'm going to start with my 5 6/10 plus 5 6/10 plus, let me move this down so you can see, 3 8/10 plus 3 8/10. And I want to add these up, and everything is lined up. So first I'm going to put in my decimal point. Here are my decimal points. They should line up in a straight line, like if I wanted to connect the points. So I'm going to put my 1 in my answer right there. Now I'm going to add up these 4 digits that are in my tens place. And I know I have doubles here. I know 6 plus 6 equals 12. And I know 8 plus 8 equals 16. And I know that 12 plus 16 equals 28. So I'm going to put my 8 down here. I'm going to regroup my 2 in the top of my ones place. Now I'm going to add up these digits. I know 5 plus 5 is 10. 10 plus another 6 here is 16, plus this 2 up top gives me 18. So for my answer, I get 18 and 8 tenths centimeters. That's the answer I got, leaving it as decimals. So now what I can do is the same thing, except I'm going to change all of my decimals to fractions or as mixed numbers. So I'm going to do that over here, and I'm going to say this time, and I'll make that a little bit smaller. Now if I wanted to do the same thing, but changing to mixed numbers. So I'll do it this way instead, because some of you might prefer to do it that way instead of leaving it as decimals. You do what works for you. So I'm going to take my 5 and 6 tenths and I'm going to add that twice. Five and 6 tenths plus 5 and 6 tenths equals, well, let's see. Here is my whole numbers. I have my 5 plus 5 gives me 10. And to add my 6 tenths plus 6 tenths, I only add my numerators, which are my sixes. 6 plus 6 is 12, and I leave my denominator the same. So I end up with 10 and 12 tenths. But I don't want to leave it as 10 and 12 tenths because my 12 tenths is an improper fraction. I have more than the whole. The whole would be 10 tenths. So I'm going to change this. I know I have at least one whole, which gives me 11 whole, and I went over by 2 tenths. So that first one is 11 and 2 tenths. Now I'm going to add my 3 and 8 tenths. 3 and 8 tenths plus 3 and 8 tenths equals, let's see, I'm going to add my whole numbers. My 3 and my 3 gives me 6. And my 8 tenths plus 8 tenths, I only add the numerators, which are my eighths, which gives me 16. And I leave my denominator of 10 the same. But just like this problem, I have 6 and 16 tenths, and I don't want to leave 16 tenths this way because it's an improper fraction. My numerator is larger than my denominator. So I know I have at least one whole here, but I already have 6 whole here, which is going to give me a total of 7. And how much did I go over my whole? I went over by 6 tenths. So now what I want to do is add together these two amounts. 11 and 2 tenths plus my 7 and 6 tenths. And I'm going to do that over here. I have 11 and 2 tenths plus 7 and 6 tenths. And let's see, I know my fractions over here, I only add the numerators, which are the 2 plus the 6, and that gives me an 8. And my denominator stays the same as tenths. And over here for my whole numbers, I have 11 plus 7, which gives me 18, which gives me a total in this case. Let me just straighten this up as 18 and 8 tenths centimeters. Which is what I got over here. Got the same thing. This is 18 and 8 tenths centimeters as a decimal. And over here, I got the same thing, but as a fraction or mixed number, 18 and 8/10 centimeters. So really, the way you do these problems today is going to depend on your personal preference. You may even want to try them all both ways. Try some problems leaving them as decimals, or try some problems changing your decimals to mixed numbers. So let's go back and see what else you're going to be doing today. You have these decimal number stories. And they might not be asking you for perimeter, but they're all going to be asking you to add decimals in some way. And again, you can leave the decimals the way they are, or you can change them to mixed numbers. So you have problem 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you also have a try this. So yeah, go ahead and try it. I have students ask all the time, do I have to do the try this? Sure, why not? It's always good to challenge your brain. Take what you did and extend it a little bit further. So I want you to go back and do those problems. And what I'm going to do is post the answers for you, but go do those problems first. Don't look at the answers if you're not ready. So pause the program, and when you're done, check your work and see how you did. So here's the answers. Remember, pause your program if you're not ready to see them yet. Okay. Alrighty. Here's the answer to number 1. Here's number 2, number 3. And if you'll notice, the answers are given in decimals, but they're also showing you if you decided to leave it the other way. And here's number 5, and here's the try this. How'd you do? Did you get it? All right, let's go back. And I'd also like you to do your math boxes for today. Here are your math boxes. Here's box 1, 2, box 3, 4, and box 5. And you have your home link. Here's your home link for today. And you're going to notice that the questions are going to be just like the ones that you did in the lesson for today. Just make sure if you're leaving the decimals, line up those decimal points exactly. They should be lined up so that you can just connect the dots with a straight line. Okay, so there was your home link. You can also play this game. They give you all the materials so that you can play it online. They give you the tools. Actually, now that I'm looking, I don't think they gave you all of them. I think I was thinking of a different game, Fishing for Fractions today. And here's some activities that you have at the end. Let's take a look at them. Here's some additional practice with those decimals. You don't need to use base 10 blocks for this, but if you wanted to, you can always use that math toolkit, those e-tools that you have. See, when they're babies, they put down. Okay, here's another activity that you can work on. And here's one more thing that you can do for some extra practice. So So go ahead and try lesson 8-7. And again, you can watch the program as many times as needed. You can do those sketchpad activities also to help you, or you can watch those tutorial videos. Good luck, everyone.